All right, I gotta figure this thing out. There was an update between this is what always happens. I go to LA. Welcome to the show. It's Hal Sparks Megaworldwide. It's a Wednesday. Normally I don't do a Wednesday afternoon show when I do a flapper show because it's a lot of talking in one day, especially after I've been singing so heavily on a Tuesday. But I love you guys and I missed you and hi. That's all. It's my only reason. That's all I got. That said, of course I could not upgrade to the new Mac OS Sonoma. And without thinking that all my other pieces of software that I use to run the show might not be caught up yet. So I had to download a whole new copy of my OBS and Oi, Gewalt. So I'm just going to have to jump to some of these screens and see if they even look halfway decent. I apologize if it's a little slapdash when we get to, is that something? Oh, look at that mess. What the hell is that? What is going on there? Look at the size of this nonsense. What in the world? What in the Sam Hill is going on here? All right, so let me put this where it should be, and then I'll fix the screen around it because that's just what I do. Squeak. Squeak. Thank you. And we move this over here, and it's kind of fixed it. There you go. That'll work. That'll do. Ha, how you like that? I'm gonna tell you something, Mr. Operating System, trying to mess with me. Yes, Flapper Show is 8 o'clock PST. I do not know if they will have the ability to stream. I will be recording it, though, and releasing it later. I apologize to our patrons if we're not able to live stream it tonight. Apparently, there were technical difficulties last time. I don't know if they still exist. I hope not. I offered my assistance, but we'll see. Either way, right after the show, I gotta beat feet and get over there. And of course, this is the night when they dump all this stuff on me. And I'm certain, I'm certain, as it were, that this is gonna wreck my whole thing. Yeah, this is my. I guess I gotta pack it all in. We're gonna have to change. There is a Hunter Biden laptop. I mean, I haven't seen it. He's never seen it. Nobody's ever seen it. But let's just assume that the title of this video should be a warning as it stands that I've been wrong this whole time, clearly. That we've been coming down too hard on Jamie Comer. And it's about time we all learned our lesson. That said, also, I'm going to have to keep checking to see if we stay online on YouTube and Facebook because it's been quite wonky. Not quite sure why. It's a very peculiar thing. Let's see if I go to here and we're up and all this kind of stuff. Let's see. Twitch is, yeah, I'm gonna streaming. Okay, we're good. Okay, we're good. We're there. Let's see. Open in web app. Sure, why not? I like it. Now it's all wonky. Move out of the way, silly. Okay. Close. Okay, I don't want to double up everything that I'm doing because that'll just make a mess out of the entire thing. But, all right, we're there. We're good. We'll see you. Okay. YouTube, let me know you're there. Facebook, let me know you're there. Also, weird little affects that you allow me to do now. And, like, I love you guys. I love you so much. I love you guys. Oh, love. There's so much love. Also, Jamie Comer. Hold on, I've got to go to this other window. You won't be able to see there's they added a lovely new reactions thing into this into the new OS, which is crazy. This is a little gross. Little balloons, little balloony. That's fun. And then of course there's the mind control. Hello, awakening wonders. All right. And then this one I particularly like. You suck. And I love you. That's good. And then, of course, the kidney. Oh, yes. It's a shorter version, but still. Whee! So many things we get to use. It's so dumb, but bubbling up with love. I love how the hearts come from your lap or whatever. They're coming from your genitals, or you've just farted a bunch of fucking hearts. I love you with my gas. It's very strange. It's the early placeholders on YouTube did not work. Refresh. Yes, refresh and come back. I don't know why it's being a dick. I think I'm gonna blame it on new OS stuff. Anyways, shall we jump into our clips today? Because I'm in a big hurry and I gotta talk later about comedy jokes. So James Comer's here and he's telling Laura and Graham that they found the money. Go straight to Joe Biden's garage.
Congressman James Comer, chairman of the House Oversight Committee. Congressman, what does this mean?
Well, I can tell you.
No idea.
That on the wire that Hunter Biden received from the Chinese national, the beneficiary address listed was Joe Biden's home address at a time where I'm pretty certain Hunter Biden was not living in the home of Joe Biden. But if you
are you certain or are you not certain?
If you go back even further than that,
because he was living there at the lake house.
This junk
also incorporated in Delaware and used that house as his Delaware address for purposes of banking. So what the fuck?
Lee, who wired the $260,000 from China to Hunter Biden's personal account, he is part of the Chinese Communist Party.
Oh yeah. Well, not anymore. Obviously, he was one of these people who was grabbed for corruption, which would mean, by the way, trying to do business in the United States and escape the CCP. But whatever.
He is a huge business person in China.
Yeah, he's also a big, huge business person in New York, where he has a $5 million apartment in Trump Tower.
With a Chinese-backed entity.
Entity. It's a ghost. There's a Chinese ghost. An entity. It's an an alien. It's an EBE, an extraterrestrial biological entity. We've got one dissected at Area 51. Area Wushi.
Investments in the United States. So what the one.
Sorry, they what?
That funds investments in the United States.
Okay, so they fund investments plural in the United States. You mean like the property he owns at Trump Tower? Okay. $5 million of it for that one particular apartment, just that one apartment. Does he own others? Have you checked those out?
The one issue in Congress that Democrats and Republicans agree on is we don't want China taking over industries important to our national security. We won't.
Yeah, I think so. I think taking over industries important to our national security. Now, I don't think everybody agrees that investing is taking over in one fell swoop, and also that every industry is necessary to our national security, period, because this was about an oil and gas deal, or a natural gas deal.
Buying farmland. This is the guy that does that. Jonathan Lee is the person who represents China. And if you research it, Joe Biden met with Jonathan Lee. He wrote a letter of recommendation for his child to get into college in the United States. There is a relationship that was developed between Joe Biden and Jonathan Lee when he was vice president, and now we have evidence that Jonathan Lee, who Joe Biden said his son never took any money from, said his son never took any money from China. Hunter Biden's...
No, he never said he never said that. What they're talking about is the $1.2 billion that he came in and in 15 minutes he got, whatever. That's what Biden was referencing.
Said that Hunter never received any money from this guy. We have evidence that he received over $250,000, and the address listed on the wire was Joe Biden's personal residence.
You mean the place where Hunter was living at the time?
Oh, Congressman, I was reading something on, I think it was on X, on formerly known as Twitter.
Shitter. It's pronounced shitter.
Saying, well, but this happened before Joe was president, before he became president in January 2020. Why does that matter?
Because there was no guarantee he was going to be president. Nobody expected him to be even running at that point. This is after he was vice president, when he had no effective leverage on the government. He was a former federal official. That's why. At this point, the question would be, according to Laura Ingraham and good old Jamie here, is that how could any American receive any foreign investment funds at all? Because technically speaking, if you haven't already been president for 8 years, you could be one day. And therefore, they're setting you up.
It doesn't matter. And
yeah, it does.
Happened while Joe Biden was a candidate for president. He was
a candidate.
already running for president of the United States. And
Hold on.
For president. He was already running for president of the United States. And
Nope.
wire from China, who's our biggest enemy. That's the
It's like 2018, 2017.
one thing. In this hall where I'm currently being interviewed, there's massive disagreement on funding levels for the government. I don't think that's any secret. One thing that we all agree on is China's a threat to the United States. And here we have more evidence of.
Hold on one second. This takes a moment. Okay. Jonathan Lee. Let's see. Let's see. This is. Let's see if I can find this. This is the article. Well, this is an article about what Comer's saying. So it's kind of a layered up approach. Hold on one second. Get out of here. Here we go. God damn it. Move out of the way. Why do I need the top of this? I can't see the top of the article, stupid. Dismiss. First son, Hunter Biden, received 2 wire transfers from Chinese nationals worth a total of $260,000 months after Joe began his 2020 presidential campaign, with the elder Biden's Delaware home listed as the beneficiary address, a key House Republican said on Tuesday. Revealed financial records that his panel subpoena turned up the transfers in July and August of 2019. The revelation is another blow to President Biden's insistence that he had no knowledge. Bank records don't lie. In 2020, Joe Biden told Americans that his family never received money from China, which is not exactly what he said, but that's whatever. Also, receiving investment funds or payment isn't the same thing, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's splitting hairs, but it's stupid. Hunter Biden is known to have spent time living in Father Joe's Wilmington home following his 2017 divorce from his wife, Kathleen Buell, even falsely claiming he owned the property on a July 2018 background check from part of a rental application. Hunter also listed his dad's house as the billing address for his personal credit card and Apple account in 2018, 2019. That's why the wire went there, or why the wire was listed there with his bank. He received 2 wire transfers from Chinese nationals worth a total of $260,000 after his father began his. Okay, I balk at the after the thing started. However, both the first son's memoir and proposed guilty plea agreement placed him in California with his wife in the summer of 2018. We have the address for his bank accounts and his business were there. It was a business thing, whatever. The 2 payments revealed Tuesday are linked to BHR Partners. That's Bohai, whatever, Rosemont. Right? A venture between Hunter Biden's Rosemont Seneca and Bohai Capital, a Chinese investment firm. First payment of $10,000 came from a person identified as Miss Wang Xin on July 26, 2019. The second took place a month later from Li Xiangsheng, who goes by Jonathan Lee. Subpoena, let's see, breaking. I just subpoenaed and obtained 2 bank wires revealing Hunter Biden received payments originating from Beijing in 2019, blah, blah, blah. Announced received payments originating from the Chinese nationals, whatever. Okay, bank records don't lie. Okay, this is a fucking same statement. Lee is the CEO of BHR Partners, was long considered a person of interest by Comer and congressional investigators. When Joe Biden was vice president, he spoke on the phone and had coffee with Jonathan Lee in Beijing, and later wrote a college letter of recommendation for his children. Comer noted, citing testimony for Hunter Biden's former business partner, Devin Archer. White House officials fired back at Comer, arguing the full context of the situation paints a different picture. They stressed that off-on nature of Hunter's time at his parents' residence as he battled drug addiction and mental health issues, right? Imagine them arguing that if someone stayed at their parents' house during the pandemic, listed it as their permanent address for work and got a paycheck, the parents somehow also work for the employer. Right, that's silly. Spokesman Ian Sam said it's bananas, yet this is what the extreme House Republicans have sunk to. Hunter's lawyer, Abby Lowell, argued this was another instance in which Republicans twist the truth to mislead people to promote their fantasy political agenda. This is a documented loan, not a distribution or payout, that was wired from a private individual to his new bank account, which listed the address on his driver's license, his parents' address, because it was his only permanent address at the time, Lowell told CNN. Archer told investigators that Hunter Biden introduced Lee to his father, then vice president, late 2013, during an official trip to Beijing. By the way, I don't doubt that Lee may have been trying to honeypot or influence Hunter. That just doesn't mean it worked, though. Archer also said that now first son put his father on the speaker during a later meeting with Lee. Wall Street Journal was reported Hunter Biden's paid-in capital to establish the company was $425,000. Has reported that Hunter Biden's paid-in capital to establish the company was $425,000, according to corporate registration records throughout 2021. Then White House Press Secretary Hunter Biden was working to unwind his 10% stake in BHR. BHR Partners says it manages $2.1 billion in assets that has taken a prominent role in Chinese state-backed companies during acquiring investment overseas. Joe Biden's abuse of public office. Hunter Biden notes in his 2020 memoir, Beautiful Things, that he was living in California at the time. Wire transfer was made. Told reporters Tuesday that I find an example the president lied to Americans again. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Comer liked this relationship that has developed between Joe Biden and Jonathan Lee. Nonsense. They keep responding. Okay, one thing we all agree on, China's a threat to the... Okay, these are quotes from the actual thing we were just watching. Oversight and Ways Committee, blah, blah, oversight, lawmakers, handful of witnesses, forensics accounting expert, Dubinsky, blah, blah, blah. Jonathan Turley. Okay. Yeah, meaningless. Not impressed. Here we go.
Biden?
Again, this is money that goes to Hunter because that's where his permanent address was. If they have any of if it showed up in the fucking shutters of the house, the Wilmington house, and Jonathan Lee got something special out of it other than a letter of recommendation for his daughter after he was no longer president or vice president.
Family receiving millions and millions of dollars.
Well, this would be hundreds of thousands of dollars in this particular case, hundreds of thousands of
Our
dollars.
adversarial country for who knows what. The Bidens never have said what they did to receive the money. What did Hunter?
He was setting up a business in the United States that was a partnership through BHR, acting as an advisor, legal counsel, and one of the investors.
Do to receive $250,000 from a Chinese national affiliated with the Chinese Communist Party.
Are there any Chinese nationals, according to James Comer, who are not affiliated with the Chinese Communist Party? Are there any Chinese Americans that, according to James Comer, are not affiliated with the Chinese Communist Party?
Maybe it was just more blow art, Congressman, that lovely art that I know you'd love to have hanging in your living room. Congressman, good to see you. Thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity.
That's it. That was the whole 3 minutes. That was the entirety of it. I know you were hoping for more details, as was I, but maybe there's more here. Because apparently Dimdrul is convinced, always on top of the talking points from 3 months ago. Tim Pool believes that they are removing Biden from the 2024 primary. The Democrats are going to move him out, and that Gavin Newsom is going to replace him, and that all signs point to this. It's a keen political eye trained on a very flimsy situation for Democrats. Only one man can break it down for us, and that would be Captain Beanie himself.
Is expanding. And why would they do this? Why would they do this? Well, it's because they want to get Joe Biden out of the race. I
say the Biden investigation is expanding, and that the administration is allowing it to happen because Democrats are actually helping subvert Biden, not because Biden's like, I have hands off. If they want to look at shit, they can look at shit.
Dude, I know there are people that I like and trust and respect, who are saying, no, you're wrong. It's clickbait. Joe Biden is going to be the nominee.
Yeah, he is. And yes, they're saying that very thing because it's true.
Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. Okay? Joe Biden, I do not believe will be the nominee.
Well, I guess that settles it. I'm sorry, guys. Pack it up. I don't even know why I bought the Dark Brandon mug at this point. If Tim has pointed out, and he's been right about... yeah, I don't know. This page is blank.
He's running now. There's talks about Democrats challenging him, but
are there talks about Democrats? What do you mean, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Marianne Williamson? Yes, the challenges are coming in hot and heavy.
See it. Why? Why would the Uniparty?
First of all, I would, if I may, there is no Uniparty. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe your premise is based on Illuminati level lunacy.
Donald Trump, who they so desperately despise.
Why would the Uniparty despise Donald Trump? They let him be president once before. If they control everything, didn't they control that as well? Maybe they asked him and he didn't want to run a second time, so this is all a charade.
Why would they run Joe Biden?
They aren't running Joe Biden. Joe Biden is the sitting president and the head of the Democratic Party because reality is based on human beings doing shit in the real world, and he's capable and he's running again. That's why.
But how do you get rid of Joe Biden? There's a bunch of different ways.
Yes, there are a bunch of different ways to get rid of Joe Biden. You can slip out the back, Jack. You can slip on a banana stand. You can creep up the street, Lee.
And it may be this
Just don't call me Roy.
probe. You see, this documents probe accomplishes two things. One,
It probes some documents. Two, it something else involving documents.
remove Joe Biden.
No, it wouldn't. Biden documents probe casts wide net. Yeah, that's what this says. From secretaries to Secretary of State, investigators have interviewed scores of witnesses, some more than once. Yes, the documents probe. This is going to catch up with him. It's not going to catch up with Trump. Obviously, he's firing on all cylinders. Never been sharper. Brilliant guy. Not a problem. Yeah.
From the race.
Uh-huh.
Kamala Harris may then say something to the effect of, look, I was in this to work with Joe Biden, and I think it's only appropriate that a new team step in. If that's
that's what's going to happen. This is brilliant, and I'm glad he's put the thought in. So as it plays out, what's going to happen is Joe Biden's going to step down because of a broad attack by Republicans on the level of like Benghazi bullshit, and Kamala Harris is just going to go, you know what? I don't being president without Joe, serving the rest of his term. It's just not something I'm good with. It doesn't feel right. I think we should both step aside. Holy fuck, this is dumb. This, if anything, if there's a pathological version of spending too much time on the internet, it is encapsulated in the thinking process of Tim Pool.
or
she seizes control and there's a coup and it's dictator Harris straight for going on forever, and she brings in William Barr to keep her in office, and also she adds 15 seats to the Supreme Court so she can control. Also,
another way to get rid of Kamala Harris in terms of 2024. They have a primary, Newsom wins, and then says, I am choosing a different VP.
Yeah, that's I could see him doing that. Like, you know what? Joe had to step down for, because of shit that pales in comparison to any single thing that Trump ever did in his entire fucking life. So obviously I have to lay that at the feet of the woman of color that's his number two. Fuck her as well. I'm bringing in somebody else. I've decided it's going to be Bernie Sanders. All right.
And yeah, maybe there's political turmoil and maybe there's complaints, but Biden cannot win.
Wait, somebody clip that for later. We're going to need that next year.
The other thing accomplished by this probe, they say, we're not biased. We went up against Trump and Joe Biden. Come on, don't you get it? So when Donald Trump gets charged on the documents, which he already has been, they say, look, we're doing the same thing to Joe Biden. You can't use that as a talking point against us. We went.
Okay, this is about the documents at his fucking house. Hold on one second. Wait. I understand. Hold on. From secretaries, this is just going to be. These two. Whoops. To Fuck you. Hold on. Secretary State Biden documents probe casts wide net. When the fuck is this? Okay, here we go. Yeah, here it is. ABC News. This is the article. This is the one he has up. Let's give it a shot, shall we? Investigators have interviewed scores of witnesses, some more than once. The federal investigation into President Joe Biden's handling of classified documents prior to becoming president has grown into a sprawling examination of Obama-era security protocols and internal White House processes, with investigators so far interviewing scores of witnesses, including Secretary of State Anthony Blinken. Sources familiar with the investigation told ABC News. Federal prosecutors and FBI agents from Special Counsel Robert Hur's office have been interviewing witnesses for nearly 9 months, targeting an expansive constellation of former aides, from high-level advisors to executive assistants, at least one White House attorney. Several sources estimated that as many as 100 witnesses have already been interviewed, with interviews conducted as recently as last week, and some witnesses asked to return for follow-up interviews. Sources who were present at some of the interviews, including witnesses, told ABC News that authorities had apparently uncovered instances of carelessness from Biden's vice presidency, but that, based on what was said in the interviews, it seemed seemed to them that the improper removal of classified documents from Biden's office when he left the White House in 2017 were more likely a mistake than a criminal act. Dun, dun, dun. Hold on one second. We have to do it. Now that I've got this whole thing. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, no. Nevertheless, special counsel has reached no final determinations, and the investigation is ongoing. In January, shortly after the news first surfaced, the classified documents had been found in the personal office used by Biden after his vice presidency. Blinken, a longtime aide to Biden, said he and Biden were both surprised to learn that there were any government records taken. It's unclear what Blinken told Hur's team in his voluntary interview with them. I would guess the same fucking thing. For a high-stakes special counsel investigation into a sitting president, Hur has operated largely under the radar since his appointment in January. Well, that's largely because, unlike Donald Trump, Joe Biden has not attacked him as an enemy of the state and called him deranged and whatever the fuck and has just let him do his goddamn job. Avoiding the attention and media scrutiny of special counsel Jack Smith, he's not avoiding it. Biden's not drawing attention to him. All right. But ABC News learned from sources that Hur's team has cast a wide net, gathering documents dating back to the early days of the Obama administration and drilling into questions about the task of securely updating the vice president on highly sensitive updating. It's a task of securely updating the vice president on highly sensitive. Okay. Investigators have shown witnesses email chains dating back to and at least 2010, asking for context about those exchanges. Witnesses have also pressed about the use of cabinets and safes. It's been publicly reported that, well, yeah, they want to know how it ended up there, and if the stuff ended up there accidentally, who handled it and why, and how it. I mean, you're going to want an investigation, even if it's not criminal. You're going to want to know how the stuff slipped out for the future. That makes total fucking sense. And the fact that Biden isn't interrupting him at all is a good sign. Meanwhile, continue, dipshit.
Him all the same. I don't think it really matters anyway.
Yes. You mean what you're talking about? Or your thoughts on this? No, it doesn't matter.
I feel like the growing political division in this country, you basically have two parent factions.
Oh, by the way, I think there's going to be a civil war, dipshits.
One faction, the Trump faction, Freedom faction, Libertarian, post-liberals, all these people, not all of them big Trump supporters either, are basically saying,
yeah, the Trump faction are definitely not big Trump supporters. Not at this point.
We think you're all liars, and we don't trust anything you do for any reason. And the other side just basically saying.
Meanwhile, they drive across town using, traffic lights and trusting their fellow man not to cross the center line. And they get into airplanes with, and trust the FAA to keep them in the fucking air. And they go into every building not knowing that they're not breathing toxic fucking fumes because the EPA and OSHA and other government organizations have guaranteed them a safe and healthy work environment and a shopping environment. They know that most of the chemicals they come in contact with either are not harmful or they have a warning if they are, even to extremes where in California you're warned about stuff and just like a shopping mall containing certain chemicals known to cause cancer is literally labeled on the fucking building, but they go in anyways. Huh? Yeah. Do you think any of these assholes drank or ate anything while they were visiting D.C. for January 6th? Anywhere? Did they walk up to a cart on the street in D.C. and go, definitely not CIA. Hand me one of your fine, frothy smoothies, my friend. Because what do I have to fear? Glug, glug, glug. I don't trust the government in anything I do. This doesn't have aspartame in it. I've read a study that says it's not good for me.
You're probably lying too, but we'll do whatever you say. Please don't hurt me. That's the gist of it.
It is the gist of it. It is in general.
Story from ABC News. They say, the federal investigation into President Joe Biden's handling of classified documents prior to becoming president has grown into a sprawling examination of Obama-era security protocols and internal White House processes, with investigators so far interviewing scores of witnesses, including Secretary of State Antony Blinken. Sources familiar with the investigation told ABC News.
Well, at least we both had the capability to read this document. Now, do you think you'll get... Remember what I told you about the yeah buts? Yeah, but being the third paragraph. Do you remember what the third paragraph in this one says? Hold on. Here's literally the third paragraph. Sources who were present for some of the interviews, including witnesses, told ABC that authorities had apparently uncovered instances of carelessness from Biden's vice presidency, but that based on what was said in the interviews, it seemed to them that the improper removal of classified documents from Biden's office when he left the White House in 2017 was more likely a mistake than a criminal act. That's the yeah, but... Right there in paragraph 3, just like I told you, that's how it works. We'll see if he blazes past it.
Prosecutors and FBI agents from the special counsel Robert Hur's office have been interviewing witnesses for nearly 9 months, targeting an expansive constellation of former aides.
Which, by the way, you would do simply because you don't want those classified documents out. In some instances, especially around things like this, you are not necessarily chasing down in the investigation, chasing down specifically because you're in charge of those documents as well. The FBI in particular is in charge of making sure those documents are secure. So they would want to know where the process broke down and in that investigation. Now, at some point, if it was criminal, they would charge somebody who's criminal. But also, if they could make recommendations about how this shit got in the wind, at some point down the line, they could go, here's our report. It wasn't criminal, but this was where this document, we figured out how this document ended up here when it shouldn't have, and there was a failure here and here, and so therefore we should button down those areas.
From high-level advisors to executive assistants and at least one White House attorney. Several sources estimated that as many as 100 witnesses have already been interviewed.
By the way, this motherfucker thinks this is going to make Joe Biden drop out of the presidential race. Donald Trump has been indicted 4 times on 91 charges, and he thinks this ongoing investigation, including the 3rd paragraph, which I just read to you, is going to make Joe Biden drop out of the race. And by the way, and Kamala Harris, and Gavin Newsom wouldn't even allow her to be his vice president after this because I'm sorry, I'm running out of ways to describe this stupidity.
Conducted as recently as last week, and some witnesses asked to return for follow-up interviews. Sources who were present for some of the interviews, including witnesses, told ABC News that authorities had apparently uncovered instances of carelessness from Biden's vice presidency, but that based on what was said in the interviews, it seemed to them.
By the way, interviews that if you lie under oath, it's a crime. Based on interviews where, there may have been under oath depositions in those interviews.
That the improper removal of classified documents from Biden's office when he left the White House in 2017 was more likely a mistake than a criminal act. Okay, so, maybe just a mistake. Maybe they don't go anywhere with this. Nevertheless, the special counsel has no final determinations, and the investigation is ongoing. In January, shortly after news first surfaced, that classified documents had been found.
Yeah, we read it. We already read it.
Into former President Donald.
Investigation. Yeah, we read it.
2010.
He's reading the whole article.
Dude, I'm sorry, man. They're digging up dirt.
Hold on.
It has been publicly reported that investigators reached for documents dating back to Biden's tenure in the Senate. Dude, I'm sorry, man.
Investigation. Okay, hold on. We'll get down to this part of it. ABC learned the source cast a wide net, gathered highly sensitive matters. 2010 exchanges has been publicly reported. Search for documents that investigators searched for documents dating back to Biden's tenure in the Senate. That doesn't mean they found any. They're digging up dirt. You do realize you don't dig up dirt. You dig in dirt to find other stuff. They're digging in. Never mind. All digging involves to some degree dirt, one would think. All right. Sources said investigators are asking witnesses, especially former military aides, granular questions about internal procedures for handling classified materials, apparently seeking to understand the minutia of how the vice president obtained, consumed, and discarded classified briefing materials. Of particular interest to investigators, according to multiple sources, was any context surrounding Biden's tendencies for note-taking and document retention, including where he stored documents, briefing books, notes, and note cards. Prosecutors also asked witnesses for an iPad and cell phone Biden kept for personal use, and whether they were aware if he ever handled classified materials on those devices. Investigators, they're going to ask all these things. Yeah, how did they get there? Did they get printed when they were home? Are these right? This is just it's amazing to me how confused by adulting Tim Pool is.
They're digging up dirt, okay? But this is the existing current federal government. So call it whatever you want. I don't know.
That wasn't actually a statement of any sort. That was just gibberish.
Pull one for you. I don't know, Civil War or something. Because I'm sure what they're going to argue is that these are Trump supporting members of the government going after Joe Biden.
No one's saying that. They're going through the process to see how those documents got in the wind, and they're going to ask all pertinent questions around it. They've come to the determination, it seems, or they're heading towards the conclusion that it was not a criminal act, that this is just mishandling of some stuff by either staff or the vice president, tucked inside some of his stuff and then going back to vice presidenting, and therefore some of this stuff ended up in his other files. Unlike Trump, who actively fucking moved boxes around on camera.
Sure, fine, whatever, man. Believe whatever it is you want to believe. The reality is Joe Biden is being knocked out of the race.
Yes, he's being knocked out of the race. Trump is, the 4 indictments are just an attempt by the deep state to make him stronger. The Uniparty is trying to help Donald Trump by appearing to be against him. But Biden, who according to this predicted, is that Biden is the #1 winner to win the race, the presidential nomination on the Democratic side, and then Gavin Newsom, Kamala Harris, Robert F. Kennedy, and Pete Buttigieg is in there. Oh, that's nice.
I'm not saying definitively. I'm saying
yes, you are. Listen to this. Say that again.
Believe whatever it is you want to believe. The reality is
Biden
is being knocked out of the race.
The reality is Biden is being knocked out of the race. Now, perfect time to go mealy mouth and namby-pamby. Follow it up.
I'm not saying definitively. I'm saying
the reality is Biden is being knocked out of the race. Now, maybe-ish, kinda, like, sorta. No, like totally.
These moves are bad for him. And
what if they come to the conclusion that the mishandling happened by staff or something like that, and that he shores up the handling of classified documents so that both what happened accidentally with him or with the Vice President Mike Pence, which, by the way, they're dealing with the vice presidency itself. They're also investigating him, that it doesn't happen in the future, and that future presidents can't just say, I magically declassify stuff by walking out of the room with it.
Open the door to a Newsom victory.
Because, he's nipping at the heels. Look at that. 18 cents to 69 cents.
Take a look at Predict It. Gavin Newsom's at 18 cents.
Above the other 2 people who are running, Marianne Williamson doesn't even chart, and Robert F. Kennedy's at 5 cents.
Who will win the 2024 Democratic presidential nomination? Joe Biden.
Well, this settles it.
Favorite. Donald Trump is doing better. I think I have Trump. Trump is here at 72 cents. Nikki.
Yeah, but that's more about the gullibility of the party. They're predicting it based on like how weak and ballless the GOP has become in the face of Donald Trump. That's the reason there's even a horse race in the secondaries in the Democratic Party is because we actually give a fuck about other candidates and other people. It's not a cult of personality. All this shows you is that the Republican Party is in the death throes of being a party of cultish fuck-ups.
At 9, Vivek at 9, Ron DeSantis in 4th place. Oh, man.
He's off by a penny. Who gives a shit?
But just, man, talk about
not being, the thing that people thought you were thinging while you thinged in the thangy thing. You know what I mean?
A crash. That's so brutal. So brutal.
It's so brutal to be 1 penny behind Vivek and Nikki Haley on Predict It. By the way, to the people that Predict It, if you think the Republicans are going to nominate a person of color over a white person or a female over a male, you are fucking lunatics. Ain't happening. Don't believe me? Ask Tim Scott.
It's a bummer.
It's a bummer. It's such a bummer.
But here's what I'm thinking, man. Look at these articles, right? Here's one from July 8th.
Opinion. From Douglas McKinnon, opinion contributor. Okay. All right, let's see this. Hold on. Is it Douglas McKinnon? The Hill. There we go. Okay, so yeah, here you go. This is these are some stuff. This is the go to his. It's one of the pages. The views expressed by contributors are their own view and not of the Hill. This is one of his articles. Should Democrats concede the White House in 2024 to win in 2028? Meaning, just let Biden lose so that I guess Gavin can win in 2028. Also, more of his. This is the guy, by the way. Is Zelensky's ungrateful act causing him to lose his luster? Back in June, Biden lashed out Ukraine president never-ending demands for U.S. aid. Barely finished Zelensky over the phone when he approved another $1 billion. Blah, blah, blah. Just Zelensky's a dick. How about this? Did RFK Jr. hint the rigged DNC may force him to run third party? Let's see. The right must respect the symbolism of the 2020 election. The symbolism. I see. So brown lady is a symbol, not a person, not a capable being. I get you. Okay, sure. Here's the here's the game plan. Biden replaces. Oh, this is Tim Pool doesn't even have this one on his fucking scorecard. Here's the game plan. Biden replaces Harris with Newsom and then resigns. This is from November of 22. Hasn't happened yet, but hey, the term is young. Sure. Well, I guess all right. If this is going to answer. Oh, my God. Is Donald Trump one of the smartest presidents in U.S. history? No. Not by any fucking means. This is from January of 2020. As I write this, the number one book on Amazon is titled A Very Stable Genius, Donald J. Trump's Testing of America, was written by two reporters from the Trump-averse Washington Post who publicly booked the same publicity does not acknowledge that only liberals now typically win Pulitzers, Nobel Prizes, Oscars, or Emmys. Fucking liberals. But then that would detract from the purpose of the book, which is to weaken, belittle, and even smear the president. Ironically, but not surprisingly, the title of this umpteenth book, Attacking Trump, came out about because of a series of tweets by the president 2 years ago when he was defending himself against, wait for it, another book from a liberal writer filled with personal attacks on the president. Michael Wolff's Fire and Fury, a book that many Trump supporters and even liberal media personalities believe is filled with multiple inaccuracies or outright flights of imagination. Yeah, not anymore. Said the president, now that Russia collusion is one of the year intensity, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay. Anyone who's followed Trump's career knows he likes to use hyperbole to push buttons and elicit responses. No doubt reporters from the Washington Post knew this because of a very stable genius. Answer depends upon the criteria used. Is he very smart? To be sure, Thomas Jefferson and Bill Clinton are among the presidents estimated to have had tremendous intellectual horsepower, blah, blah. But is he outsmarted the smarty pants? Anyways, that's who this fucking, when is the optimal time for Biden to drop out of the race? That's the same guy who wrote, is Trump the smartest president in U.S. history?
Optimal time for Biden to drop out of the race.
Which, by the way, when people read an opinion piece and read the title as if this is a factoid I'm dropping, always beware. I will try never to do this. I don't think I do, but if I ever catch myself, I'll do it like, aha! But because it's an opinion piece. But if you read this like it's a fucking report from the CDC, you're an asshole.
Really? As if it's a foregone conclusion?
But from the writer who thought Trump was the smartest president in U.S. history.
Here's one from The Guardian. Biographer says it wouldn't be a total shock if Biden drops out of the 2024 race.
The writer of a biography, not obviously, I don't know, is it an authorized secondary biography? Is it the guy himself?
And then we have this from The Hill. Pardon Hunter and drop out. How Biden can spare his party, his family, and his image.
And this is Derek Hunter. Let's go. Okay. Should we look at Derek Hunter? I mean, talk about like farming articles. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. Big city Democrats are repeating the mistakes that killed Detroit. Here's a great example why people distrust the media from the media. An opinion piece each year, treated new polling showing journalism as professional, blah, blah, blah. Directors, actors bomb nowadays angrily blame the fans for their failures. Okay, yeah, just right wing, largely. Trump is a coward for not debating tonight. There's a point. All right. Host of the Derek Hunter podcast. There's a word for a man who's afraid to show up. Coward. Former president is coward when it comes to debating his primary opponents. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes cowards win. For example, the governor of Arizona refused to debate her opponent. She won by a million votes. But in politics, especially presidential politics, courage matters. Trump's willing to speak out. Trump is no longer politically novice or just a businessman. He's now a politician. Happens, blah. Oh, shucks, I'm new to all this. Doesn't work. Okay, blah, blah, blah. That's written somewhere else. The affirmative action ruling has exposed Democrats. Oh, I remember this article. Failure on education. I see. Failure to keep Republicans from gutting it? Or, all right. Yeah, but that's the writer on this one.
Sure. Maybe that's the path. I think it's not going to be Joe Biden. I think Gavin Newsom is...
I'm not saying that definitively. I'm like adding a like to it. I'm just going to add a like. I'm just saying I'm not definitively saying this.
Smarmy used car salesman who would fare better than most. Michelle Obama probably would do very well. But the issue is everyone's basing the Michelle Obama assumption off of a few things. One, that she wants to run, and two, that she actually has the X factor required. And X factor's kind of...
The X factor. Get the fuck out of here. Jesus Christ. Michelle, Lord Almighty. The X factor? You mean like George H.W. Bush? Or George W. Bush? Or Nixon? Or Ford? Or Lyndon Johnson? The X factor. Fucking hell.
What I mean is
she doesn't excite me. She's a scary black lady.
Needs confidence, charisma, and wit.
Yeah, she does okay, but she also wants you to eat your broccoli, so that probably, that's going to end it, yeah.
Does she have those things?
Like, as much as Donald Trump, you mean? Does she have the ability to castigate people on physical characteristics they can't do shit about and be a disgusting pig? Will she have an Access Hollywood tape that really pushes her to the front of the line with right-leaning independence?
We know that she's popular. Democrats, but I don't know if she's going to be able to handle debating.
She's not running. This is a fucking fantasy as well. Again, if there's a straw man and a steel man, is this like a fart man? No, that's a Howard Stern character. It's a ghost of an idea, a specter of idiocy.
Speaking to the great degree that, Obama could, so she might just be like, I can't do it.
Yeah, that's what she's doing. She's at home after being next to her husband going, I don't know. I guess it's just a man thing. Get the fuck out of here.
The speculation is based off her image, based off of her celebrity rating.
No, it isn't. It's based on this right-wing fantasy that she's the next Hillary Clinton. That Obama is very popular the way Clinton was popular, and that the Democrats are going to run Michelle like they ran Hillary, and we got to start tearing her down now. That's what this whole thing is about. And they've never given up on attacking her because they're fucking gross.
She could be a good candidate. But Gavin Newsom, while he doesn't have the policies, he certainly has the wit and the charisma. And
what policies does he not have? Because the stuff that he's getting done in California right now is popular with 80% of the electorate.
More so than many other people who may be running. So here are my thoughts, man.
Yeah, give us your thoughts, bro. Yeah, bruh.
Look, they're doing a deep investigation.
A deep investigation. Yeah. Unlike the one they're doing with Trump, which is obviously just cursory and they're going to throw him in jail without even a real trial. It's just basically a kangaroo court.
Joe Biden. Right now, predicted market has Joe Biden to win at 43 cents, Trump at 37, but Gavin Newsom at 14. I think it's funny that Ron DeSantis is in fourth place despite losing to Nikki Haley and Vivek
Rhonda who?
Swamy in the GOP presidential primary predictions. Something doesn't add up there.
Because they poll people differently based on who's in the running. And once you put them in place, they fall off a lot, especially on that whole like brown people GOP problem.
But Gavin Newsom's right there.
Right. He's gaining popularity. That's why he's easing into it. He's in no rush. It's very obvious that if Kamala Harris wants to run again, there's a chance that he might wait one cycle. But there's another chance that Gavin might decide to run against her in 20, leading up to 2028. I kind of doubt it, but we'll see. But I mean it's fucking 5 years away. 5 and change.
Going to be debating Ron DeSantis. Why? Neither, whatever. Maybe it made sense a year ago when Ron
Party to party
was actually doing well, but I just don't see it. Ron DeSantis has done too much damage to himself in his campaign, but maybe the idea is that Trump and Biden are both not going to be in the race. Who knows? Who knows, man? Right now, you got two very old people with Trump and Biden. Trump is seemingly
old,
spry, and
seemingly spry. Okay, this is proof that Tim Pool has never watched an entire Trump interview past 2015.
And winning in all the polls. Biden is not. So what happened?
But he seems to be winning in this one by a hefty 10 cents.
For some reason or another, Biden is going to be he's going to drop out or be removed. I think it's him dropping out because
I'm not saying definitively. I'm like
whatever they end up getting on him or doing to him, it results in Joe Biden saying, I'm stepping down. Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. In general, whatever they get on him, if they don't have anything yet. I mean, they don't have anything yet, but they'll get something, and then he'll step down. Yeah, that's probably what'll happen. Unlike Trump, who is spry enough to run from prison.
It's possible. I agree
Jesus.
that Joe Biden will be the nominee, but it just seems too far-fetched because if they run Joe Biden, it sounds like they're saying, we want to lose.
Uh-huh. Not according to Predict It, which you were just saying was a way to slam Ron DeSantis a second ago. You were using that as your impetus for saying, oh my God, how far he has fallen, because Predict It put him in 4th place. But Biden's winning by 10 cents plus over ish, depending on which category, the one or the initial one, the 63 cents before and this 43 cents here. Now it doesn't mean anything.
For real. At this point, if the Democrats run Joe Biden, it seems the simple answer is they don't want to win. And I assume they want to win. The first time they ran Biden, sure, many of us I thought he couldn't win. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's just almost like it's coming right back. Now, a lot of us didn't think that. Like, one of us in this bizarre internet conversation said he would be the nominee and that he would win, and was right. So I'm just weighing that against what you're saying versus what I'm saying from context as far as who was actually correct about this shit.
I discounted the anti-election, right? That people were just voting against Trump, so it didn't really matter who they had, right?
Why would you discount that part? Oh, because Trump is spry and smart and a master of all media.
I decided to use someone who was more disposable, someone older, which stands.
Yeah, that's what everybody voted for. Yeah, it was a huge anti-Trump vote, and we all went, who's the most disposable amongst the people running? Yeah, that's how it happened. That's how we all remember it.
Reason why Joe Biden will not be the nominee. And what may happen is, not likely a primary, but for some reason or another, Joe Biden steps down and he says, they could do something like the doc.
Yeah, they could do something like, I would do it in like a soliloquy, like in a monologue form, man alone on a stage, spotlight, maybe even he should do it as a song.
Case comes out, Biden comes out and then says something to the effect of,
hello,
states that if you're found, guilty of this documents thing, then you have to do this, that, you can't run for office. And he says, I respect this Constitution. I regret the actions that I took. It was a genuine mistake. But the law is the law, and we stand for the law, so I will be stepping down.
What? No. Nobody is denied the ability to run for office for mishandling classified documents. For trying actively to hide them, that's an act of treason. The fuck are you talking? This is so fucking stupid. Good Lord.
Allowing someone else to take up the mantle and lead this great nation. There's a bunch of ways he could do it.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. I think he should use a ventriloquist dummy. Or they should do some sort of AI thing where they have a talking fish fire him in a swimming pool. At the beach. Be better at the beach, or whatever. And then he sprouts Wilmington House shutter wings and flies off into the sunset. This is fucking ridiculous.
They could just remove him and be like, nope, you're out. And Biden could be like, well, you know.
I'm like, and he's like, and you're all like, I'm like, what? You're like, I'm like, fucking go. I'm like,
What am I going to do about
I'm like, what are you saying? I don't know. What are you saying? I don't know. You look like a crayon that just has been overused.
Or Biden could say,
he could say, I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
a good fight. But for me, perhaps it's time to realize that I'm a bit too old. And he'll smile and he'll laugh and he'll beg, but it doesn't mean not capable. Because there's many people, and then he'll pander to the older crowd and say, but the task...
The older than him? Yeah. To guarantee that 80-plus-year-old people continue to vote so he doesn't make them mad and drive them away from the Democratic Party by making self-deprecating age jokes, making the same mistake that Reagan made in his re-election campaign.
Is going to be difficult. And so we need someone younger, blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. It fills in. It writes itself, that speech.
Gavin Newsom steps in, and then Kamala's just...
Yeah, he just steps in.
Picture.
Yeah, Kamala just goes, yeah, get to do it. You know, it's just the presidency. I mean, nobody's really invested in becoming the president or being a public servant. We all got whatever. Nah. I wasn't going to finish that anyways. You know, I was getting a little bored with it, actually. Yeah, I was really getting tired of being one heartbeat away from the presidency. I was like, never have time to binge watch Bosch.
Stops talking about her, and that's it. Everyone's like, how is she going to go if Biden's removed? What about Kamala? And it's like, dude, she'll just disappear.
Yeah, she'll somebody will throw a bucket of water on her, and she'll go, what a world.
It doesn't need to be a big public statement. She could literally just...
Yeah, she's just the first vice president of color in our nation's history. She can just fade, man. Nobody's going to give a shit. Nobody gives a shit, about that. Nobody cares. Why would even people they'll be like, Kamala who?
Do press. But I really...
Really, honestly. Yeah, totally, really, totally.
It's going to be a wild year.
Wild. Hey, Temple, it's going to be a wild year. Keep on making up shit that nobody agrees with. Hey, dipshit Tim Pool, it's gonna be a wild year. Good Lord. Is this what this I don't watch his show on the regular. Is this what his fucking channel is like? Is it just like dipshit take after dipshit take? Like this kind of self-involved this idea, okay, it's my job now to tell you how things are. This is how it is. I'm not saying this is how it is, but this is how I'm going to say it's like it is.
With violence, with chaos.
Violence, chaos, and Kamala Harris just disappearing and Joe Biden stepping down with an old folks joke. It'll all mix together. It'll be a crazy show. It's going to be one of those, like binge watching a series where in the middle they diverge into some sort of cute side story that you're not really into. Then it gets back to the zombies.
I think probability stands, based on my view and everything I've seen, that
your view and everything you've seen, which involves most of the world. Tim Pool speaks 7 languages. Well-read, well-traveled young man. Spent a good deal of his time in Europe. He lived in a yurt for quite some time. He was one of the founding members of Burning Man. Back when it was just 4 guys in a porta potty lost in the desert, and somebody was lighting their farts, and they set on fire this scarecrow that they'd used to distract the farmers who were trying to drive them off their land. He's written several books on the subject, although he doesn't know what the subject is, which I think is amazing in and of itself. He's sort of like the Where's Waldo of Jack Reachers. You know what I mean? He's the Zelig, but that no one would look for in the picture, right?
Will not be the Democrat nominee. They are panicking in desperation to get him to.
Yeah, I woke up this morning in a flop sweat. I don't know about you guys. Like, oh God, remember the documents thing from a couple years ago about the possible handling of things where Biden allowed the FBI to look at his properties, and so did Mike Pence and a couple other people. They're like, shit, we need to work on this to make sure some of the stuff they do, none of it was dangerous and none of it turned out to be bad. But God, he's never going to be president. Oh, he is still president. And then I went and brushed my teeth.
Stand up straight. Why would they run him unless they wanted him to lose? Okay, fair point, perhaps.
To yourself. I love how he's arguing with himself. Why would they do that? I don't know. Good point. You bring up a good point, me, that I disagree with. But hey, Jesus Christ! I muted it? That's funny.
For some reason, I don't buy that either.
You don't buy your own argument based on nothing?
They really want Donald Trump to win for some reason.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. I think you're onto something. I think that's a great idea. That's probably the most sound idea you've had so far. I think I would lock in on that one. Just own it. Own it.
I don't buy that either.
Oh, well, then don't. You know what? I agree. You know what? That was wrong of me to even say that. I think that was a dumb idea, and only a fucking moron would come up with something even close to an idea like this. I don't know what kind of beanie-headed dipshit would even like voice that idea. I can't believe I backed it up, but I mean, we all have our Trumpistan moments, I guess. I don't know, but maybe there is something.
So it seems to me.
Seems to me.
Gonna be Joe Biden. We'll see. I'll leave it there. Next segment's.
We'll see. Fucking 11 minutes of we'll see. Jesus Christ. You ever think of working at the Blaze? Tim, you're right there to take over Glenn Beck's seat as just kind of like as the next person at the Blaze to have a flagrant disregard for reality and a complete lack of understanding about how normalcy works at fucking all. Jesus Christ. Is that what this is? I'm not kidding. Is that what his show is like all the time? Is this what Tim Pool turns out as content? He's got 1.2 million subscribers. You can hang out with him live in Miami. He's Timcasting out of Miami, where I guess he's showing up there to pick up his adopted Russian anchor baby out of Trump Tower, Moskva. Buy the cast brew coffee. Oh, he's got his own coffee, and you can become a member for uncensored videos where he does the whole thing beanie off. Is that a beanie? Is that what it's called? A beanie? He's wearing a beanie? Or was it did he have a toque and it was circumcised? I'm always confused by that look. I'm kidding. Calm down. Roll the whole fucking thing down. I'm honestly, did you get diverted on your way from a bank robbery? Get a fedora. Jesus Christ. Well, that's, ladies and gentlemen, that's Tim Pool. That's apparently what Tim Pool does for a living, and he's making bank. He's got a well-oiled machine over there where he can, fire. He could have his friends on the show and then fire them. And then apparently there was some drama with somebody fucking his girlfriend or his wife or whatever the hell over there. Remember that bullshit last year? I have to say that if there's anything that can turn me off the internet for days on end, it's when internet personalities who kind of know each other get into personal dust-ups that the rest of us don't give a rat fuck about, that have nothing to do with the content they normally put on the air, like just the in-fucking middle school bullshit, right? Many of his followers have got to be bots. I don't know. Well, you're real people, and I appreciate you being here. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. Blah, 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 with all that blah, blah, blah. Now, let's see. Hold on. Beijing to Wilmington. This is, I think this has to do with the Comer thing, right? Yeah, it's the same shit. Hold on. Oh, boy. Why is this auto playing? When did that turn on? Oh, this is pretty hilarious. Hold on one second. Command plus. There we go. So Salcido joins us after a long while. This is, I guess it's the opening of the show is called the preamble. Here's our evening preamble. I'm the voice of America. Look at the title of this fucker. I declare the idea that Trump deceived people is unbelievable, according to Tom Fitton, who I'm going to go out on a limb and say wears blush. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's totally fine. But, as they said in the old country, ladies, whores wear blush, ladies pinch. Just kidding. I don't know where I heard that first. It was like at a play or something. All right, here we go.
Just getting some breaking news in now.
Oh, breaking news. Whoop, why are you not playing?
Decision on that baseless lawsuit brought by Trump-hating New York Attorney General Letitia.
Trump hating, okay. Oops.
Organization. New York judge has just ruled in favor of James, saying that President Trump committed fraud and...
Yeah, because he did. He's going to lose his business license in New York, exactly like I said he would. And by the way, I said that was also a step you needed to take before you put him in jail, so that the mythology around him as this master businessman that they're trying to take down has to go before you can go after him because of his followers. You want to minimize as many people, innocent human beings that are killed by his lunatic lone wolves as possible in this process.
And insurers by overhauling his assets and
he's going to get his assets overhauled. Look out.
Rating his net worth on loan applications. Letitia James says Trump must pay a $250 million fine.
Which he doesn't have.
Now, with reaction as president of...
Look, there she is with a bunch of gay people. I knew it!
To watch an author of a Republican...
Okay, I'm convinced he's CGI. This is, or he's wearing someone else's skin like Vincent D'Onofrio in Men in Black.
Tom Fitton. Tom, always great to see you.
That's not true. I mean, don't start the interview with a lie. That's not fair.
Sure, President Trump's going to appeal.
Also, why do you have your shirt open to the third button for an interview? I'm sorry. What is that?
But what do you make of the whole case, the fact...
Well, I think, baby, I'm just, excuse me one second. I got to open this up. All right.
Charges were even brought to begin with.
Well, this was...
Well, as a non-lawyer...
Political investigation and prosecution of Trump prior to the criminal charges that were brought by James' Democratic ally, Alvin Bragg, and then obviously the Biden administration.
Obviously. This is kind of like Russia and, having to invade Ukraine because of NATO. Trump had to commit fraud. Biden made him commit fraud.
And it's no surprise the judicial system in New York is anti-Trump.
Yes, because they've spent the most time with him, and the more time you spend with him, the more anti-Trump you become, unless, of course, you're a lunatic.
He's a successful businessman.
No, technically he's not. Technically, legally speaking, he's a fucking fraud.
And the idea that any of these banks or anyone else was deceived by Trump's financial statements, to me, just is unbelievable.
Well, what's unbelievable? His financial statements. Try to, if you noticed what I did there, that's why I was found guilty of fraud, dipshit.
And so the summary finding by the judge is going to be a problem.
I would say.
President Trump in this litigation, but it's, again, most people rightly discount these investigations, and frankly...
No, they don't.
The politicized nature of the judiciary isn't helping.
The politicized nature of the judiciary? You mean the fact that Trump slanted the Supreme Court hard right in an effort to protect himself from comeuppance that was eventually coming, like some sort of Russell Brand preemptive strike?
Reassure people that justice is being fairly administered. And I think politically this is just going to be another blip for Trump as he, proceeds with the campaign.
Yeah, it's just a blip. It's a blip. It's a $250 million blip in his inability to do business and any of his children to do business in the state of New York. Because, who does business in New York? You know what I mean? Especially Manhattan. What businesses and do they even do any major business in New York anymore? Come on. Yep. But hey, at least he can count on Ron DeSantis allowing him to set up shop and reopen the Trump organizations in Florida around Mar-a-Lago. At least he's got his buddy in the governor's... Oh, fuck.
Turn to some more politicization on the federal level. Senator Bob Menendez, his own party is asking him to resign.
See how that works? See the difference? Look how confused fucking Fitton is. What? Don't tell me that, because I need plausible deniability on other shows where I'm supposed to pretend that the Democrats are okay with Menendez being a complete crook, but they're going after Trump for shit.
There are those of us who know the history here. Menendez has been on the outs since not going along with all of the Obama's anti-American agenda.
That's what it was. And what could be more pro-America than pockets full of cash and closets full of gold?
And given the abusive, crooked conduct of the DOJ in the last decade, should Americans be very leery of jumping to conclusions here on Menendez?
Yeah, that's good. It's a great idea. Go back Menendez right now. Brilliant.
Well, the problem with having a corrupted and compromised Justice Department, you can't, trust them to prosecute anyone in the.
Yeah, I mean, the FBI probably planted those gold bars and made Menendez look up on his computer how much is a kilo of gold worth.
Political system without asking the question of who benefits, right?
Well, I don't have to be asked, and I don't need to be asked who benefits from a closet full of cash. I'm fairly certain, chat room, speak to me. Would any of you benefit from a closet full of cash and gold bars? I think I could. I mean, obviously, if I discovered it in some sort of house, I would go, oh, clearly the person I'm spending the night near, around, or with is a massive drug dealer or a criminal. So when I steal this, I'm going to have to be very slick about it. But
and in the case of Menendez, he has a long record of
taking bribes and giving classified information to the Egyptians and selling his influence and getting paid in gold bars.
Scandalous behavior, to put it mildly. And he's on the target of the Justice Department for some time.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, Trump left him alone. So during the Obama administration, they looked into him, and then Trump just kind of put it on pause. So did Trump benefit from what Menendez was doing? Did Menendez have sort of a gentleman's agreement with him about something?
And as I've noted previously, typically he would be part of that protected class, like Hunter and Joe.
No, there is no protected class.
Whose comparative corruption makes Menendez's alleged corruption seem really quite trivial.
No. Jared Kushner's makes everyone in the United States' corruption that they could possibly be up to look trivial by comparison. Donald Trump is a close second. Donald Trump got as much money as is alleged went to Hunter Biden and allegedly Joe and Shemp and Haley and Frank Biden and Shemp Biden and Zeppo Biden in one phone call.
And in terms of money and other misconduct. But because
other misconduct, right. So Menendez, we don't have any film of him with hookers and crack, so.
As you noted, that Menendez is not exactly on board with the
law, with obeying the law.
Radical agenda, certainly in foreign policy with respect to Cuba and Iran. He didn't have many friends in the Obama administration.
Yeah, but he had a lot of friends in Egypt, so that made up for it. I mean, you could just fly down there anytime.
And certainly doesn't have any friends in the Biden administration.
Right, yeah. And you would think, maybe, you know what, maybe they're just jealous. That's probably what it is, Tom. It's probably, Biden's like, I'm the only corrupt politician in this town. Menendez, you take a back seat.
And my question for the Democrats.
My question for the Democrats is, why aren't you looking at Joe's closets? Oh, you did. The FBI actually went through all of his closets because of the documents they found at the Biden Center, and so he allowed him to go through all of his properties, unlike Trump, who said he was raided and would let them into bed. Okay.
I'm him to resign now. Is what did he have to do in order to get you to call on him to resign? Is it?
Well, I think it was that they finally got enough information from one of their sources to do a search of his house. And when they did, they found piles of cash and gold and all kinds of other shit. This was a year ago. That's how long it takes to process these things. It's almost exactly in the same timeline as the Mar-a-Lago search and seizure warrant. And it played out at exactly the same timescape.
Criminal prosecutions. There's all sorts of other evidence of misconduct by Menendez that I would have thought would have caused some discomfort in the Senate, but their ethics committee blessed him previously. So now all of a sudden he's a bad guy, and
No, not all of a sudden.
better way to distract from Biden corruption than to go after a Democrat who is no friend of the regime in terms of their foreign policy agenda.
I've said it quite often. Thank God for Judicial Watch because of all the great work you do.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, none of it legally binding, and probably I agree. By the way, all jokes aside, I'm very thankful that Tom Fitton is the person giving Donald Trump the worst legal advice he could possibly get, and making him repeatedly admit to crimes on television because he believes what Tom Fitton has told him. He's that fucking stupid. So thank God there's someone as dumb as Tom Fitton feeding lines to someone as dumb as Donald Trump.
And it relies on something that we Americans call free speech.
It totally does. We Americans call it that. You know, the French don't even have a word for free speech. I think it's still 2 words, but they're probably French, so I don't care.
According to a recent poll from Real Clear Opinion Research, 1/3 of registered Democrats believe that Americans, quote, have too much freedom to speak freely. Tom, free speech.
On the Blaze, what did you do? Show him a swastika? And yeah.
Is a bedrock principle of being an American. And I've often said that these...
Yeah, that, you know, there can be no limits on what we consider free speech. And that's why Salcido is a child porn advocate. Also, violent threats. You should have the ability to make violent threats against people, according to Salcido, while emailing child porn. That's what Salcido believes. No limits on free speech.
Pro-China Democrats no longer wish to continue being Americans.
The pro-China Democrats. Those would be who exactly?
Didn't this group of Democrats just kind of prove my point?
No.
Well, I mean, just look at the Biden.
Donald Trump wants to jail journalists.
And you've got a multi-billion-dollar effort to suppress free speech. It's not only the Biden administration abusing the powers of government to censor Americans by the tens of millions. You have these allied.
Well, no. Prove they're Americans first. Just social media accounts aren't Americans just because they say they're Americans. Bot accounts don't suddenly get citizenship. Yeah, I know you guys want to give like sperm the vote and you know, deny eggs the same ability, but no, at no point.
Left-wing groups and academic forces.
The woke universities, Berkeley probably. All
geared towards suppressing speech. You have the European Union geared towards suppressing speech.
I don't give a fuck what the European Union does. We do our stuff by contrast. And the European Union, if you want to operate a multinational social media organization and they make different rules, tough shit. Convince them our rules are better. But Joe Biden is not on the hook for what fucking Germany says. And by the way, let's understand, one of the reasons why Germany has harsher rules is so that you can't just put swastikas up everywhere.
Transnational effort to suppress people's freedom of thought and freedom of speech.
Freedom of fitting.
And those of us who oppose it, we're far and few between.
Few and far between. Not far. What am I talking about? He's not a lawyer and clearly not an English professor.
The being able to fight back, and thankfully the courts have kind of tried to restrain the Biden administration, but there's still too much censorship. And
yeah, terrible. I'm so sick of being censored, like you, Salcido, right here on Newsmax. I hate being censored while I'm talking to you on the internet, on a video that anyone can see anytime they fucking want to.
First Amendment has never before, at least in modern American history, been under as much attack as it is now.
Okay, bullshit. We've had way worse book burning even in the country before. What the fuck are you talking about? You have access to more speech than you have ever fucking had. Limitations on social media weren't a thing 15 fucking years ago because they didn't meaningfully fucking exist. I wasn't denied my freedom of speech because I wasn't allowed to be on Twitter in 1986, fuckwad.
under the Biden administration.
By Americans.
Oh, it's terrible. American on American crime.
And thank you very much. I always appreciate the good work you do in the visit.
In the visit. Thanks for visiting. Hold on one second. Hold on. I gotta flip something on. Sorry about the wind noise, but it's getting toasty back here, and I was being cooked. And I've got a show, and I got a half hour left. Okay, I think we could do this. All right. Let's go to D'Souza. The DOJ is politicized and weaponized and anglicized. D'Souza, this is, you know why this drew my attention. You guys, I don't want to fucking beat this dead horse, but nobody knew how China-like U.S. would become. Oh, we're getting very China-like. You mean like the Republican primary where it's just more of a selection than an election? I kid. Come on. Here we go.
Countless hours to investigate.
Hold on. Here we go. Let's back up.
Dinesh D'Souza has devoted countless hours to investigating the left, and he joins me now.
Yes, he's countless hours investigating the left and also Laura Ingram's vagina.
Good to have you back on. It seems clear that our politicians realize that they can get away with a lot using plausible deniability in this case.
Yeah, especially when it's Trump, because he doesn't fucking know anything. I had the best memory. I know the best words. I never met that person. I don't even know that guy. He was around a lot, but I think he just got me coffee. Also, flurble cafefe.
As long as it's not too obvious, the case is pretty tough to make.
Yeah, I think that,
It's all about plausible deniability.
there's a question.
By the way, hack terms like plausible deniability, they have function occasionally, but their overuse points to just an ignorance and kind of a bumper sticker mentality about politics. It's like saying deep state or establishment. Plausible deniability is another one of those fucking things.
How do you distinguish the scale of corruption that you see with Menendez and that you see with Biden?
Well, I would say a closet full of money and gold bars and messages with his wife contacting like people from Egypt and him responding saying, I'm signing off on the Egypt thing today. That would seem like pretty cut and dry. There's your quid, there's your pro, there's your quo. When it comes to Biden, it sounds like a fishing expedition, and you guys keep coming up with, and you've even lost your bait.
From you could call it ordinary corruption of a politician who has a big donor. The big donor, let's say, is from a utility company.
Okay, that's not ordinary.
As a business of some sort, gives money, sometimes quite a small amount of money, and then...
Or, in the case of Menendez, a whole shit ton of money.
Wants the politician to return his phone calls, pay attention, hear him out, even if not to give something...
This is his defense of Trump, by the way.
Explicitly in exchange to give him preferential treatment compared to any other citizen.
Yeah,
now,
that's standard donor politics.
Of course, what Menendez did and what the Bidens have done is they have perfected the scheme. They have taken it to a level that's, it's almost like it crosses a certain amount of a line of tolerance. So people go, oh my gosh, this is taking it way too far.
Well, I think Menendez, sure, but you're trying to attach it to Biden as if there's a one-to-one comparison, and there isn't.
Biden's, they've been a little more sly about it.
Because you can't find anything.
The fact that
Sly means I haven't found anything, and it's not because I'm a complete inept fuck and I'm barking up the wrong tree. It's because these guys are really good.
so far at least,
They're also, Biden's also, he can't put a sentence together and is inept and, he's brain farting all over the fucking place or whatever, but master criminal.
haven't seen any money going directly to Joe Biden. It's kind of the last line of defense, isn't it? All the family...
No, it's not. There's two things. There's no direct evidence of the money going to Biden, but there's also no change in policy that you can point to that even if the money was sent, was the result of that money being sent. In this case, you're having a real hard problem. You have no quo at all, but you are fucking dry on the quid part as well.
...are corrupt. Yes, they were running an influence scheme, but hey, listen, Joe Biden wasn't directly involved.
Yeah.
That's the current defense of Joe Biden.
The one guy earning all the money was the only one that had no idea what was going on and obviously wasn't taking any of the money. That's the excuse that they give. But
no one made that as the excuse. That's just fucking gibberish.
you made a good point, though. I mean, the whole system
No, he did not.
is if you really want to go down that road, it's all corrupt. I mean,
yeah, all of it's corrupt. So why are we bothering Trump? Okay, it's the system that did this. By the way, these are the people who tell you that systemic racism doesn't exist. It's it's not embedded into the thing. And when people encounter individual racism, that's a thing over here. But there's no systemic racism, but there is systemic corruption, and therefore, when Trump is corrupt, it's not he doesn't want to be. It's just that's how shit works. Even when it doesn't, because he's getting busted for it, which he shouldn't get busted for it, because shouldn't everybody be busted for it? Even though we don't have anything that shows everybody else is into the shit he's into.
Street is corruption, right? I mean, having money in politics, you've already kind of crossed that line.
I see. All right. The fact that these motherfuckers are going to come out against Citizens United or some shit, you do recognize, asshole, that you're talking to a guy who makes movies specifically to manipulate the electorate using effectively super PAC funds. And if you were like, get money out of politics, it destroys Dinesh's career. You know what? I'm on Rob's shit side all of a sudden. How did that happen?
I guess it's not surprising that some of these people, the worst actors out there that have been there the longest, like the Bidens and people like Menendez who are 70, 80 years old, after long enough, they just say, you know what, I'm cashing in.
Yeah, and it's amazing that Trump didn't even wait until he was in politics to do this kind of corruption. It's amazing. Some people get a head start. I mean, he always was an early starter. That's the thing about him. You know what I mean? That's what makes him a great businessman.
Well, you have to look at the motives for why people go into government in the first place. Now,
right? Yeah, like Trump.
No one's claiming that Jimmy Carter or Reagan or George W. Bush got in it to get rich, and in fact, they didn't get rich.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But I think what we see with
Trump definitely did, because he made money. He made more money during the 4 years he was president than he did in the 8 years previous.
Clintons and now with the Bidens is people who went into politics with no money at all, and they didn't just
and they still have no money.
Go well off. I mean, it'd be one thing if Clinton is former president, he gives some speeches, he makes, $50,000 here, $50,000 there, he lives now in a nice house. But no, we're talking about people going from zero to like $100 million.
Yeah, the Bidens are worth $8 million. $8 million, not 100, 8.
A government salary. That, on the face of it, screams corruption.
That certainly does.
Like Rick Scott, you mean? So Rick Scott totally corrupt is what you're saying? I agree.
You've got a new film coming out. It's called Police State. I watched the trailer earlier today. It looks
embarrassing.
Fantastic.
It looks really stupid.
Just a little bit here.
We want the subject to be on display, doing the walk of shame, full visual impact.
Okay, not a real FBI agent, not a real arrest. This is a fake enactment. Notice how look at the black dude prominently just leading this poor golf shirt wearing dad.
For the first time in my life, I'm saying to myself, am I going to get a knock at the door?
No, you're not. No one gives a fuck, Bongholio. You're not going to get a knock at the door. As a matter of fact, I got news for you. The knocks at your door in general are going to dry up.
We need to have a crime. What we need is a person to look at.
Yeah, that's Comer and Jim Jordan, and that's what the Republicans on the committee are doing. That's what Trump tried to do with Zelensky and the Biden investigation. That's what he wanted, was Comey Part 2.
Go find out what crime you did.
FBI!
So obviously we're talking about the left weaponizing the Justice Department against...
Or the right.
Citizens. Tell us about Police State.
Yeah, tell us about it. We basically live in a police state. I mean, you can't go outside. You can't really go outside. It's basically martial law at this point.
Well, Police State looks at the broader picture. It isn't just the FBI.
Yeah, it's just in general. Like, go outside. I mean, don't, because you'll get shot.
If you think of what an unfree society like North Korea or China.
Unfree, sure. Mm-hmm.
Or the old.
You mean an oppressive society or an authoritarian society? Unfree. Just say unfree.
Union. What are the defining features of such a society?
Uniforms, definitely uniforms. Probably made out of burlap, and everybody eats dry rice. No water at all, and lots of little mustaches. I think that happens.
One, you've got mass surveillance of citizens.
Right, mass surveillance of citizens. And it's worse in the United States because these assholes film themselves. Look at this guy. They're both sitting in front of cameras right now, staring right into them. Oh my God, so am I.
Number two, you've got the weaponization of the government against political opponents.
Or one party committing more crimes than the other and then using it as an excuse. I mean, how do you make that distinction without acting like a complete dickhead?
A one-party state, the effort to establish a one-party state.
By the way, all parties are seeking to have complete control over the government. Republicans are seeking to take the House, the Senate, and the White House. Democrats are seeking that too because you believe you have the best ideas and you want to run the country. Of course, you want to win more seats and have more influence. Republicans have a head start in that area. If they didn't, by the way, they would give up one senator in each of the states that doesn't have a population over 1 million.
Number four, the presence of political prisoners.
What? Oh, you mean Jan 6ers? You mean the people who like flew a Confederate flag and took a dump and stole shit in the Capitol?
A widespread regime of censorship, often stretching throughout the whole society.
Yes, says man talking into his laptop on television with a host who's agreeing with him and nodding the whole time. Do you know what kind of a special level of asshole you have to be to claim censorship while you're on live fucking television? Saying whatever the fuck you want?
People informing on their own family members or people down the street.
As opposed to, so snitching is now a sign of an authoritarian government. So they're just supposed to, if it's a relative and they've killed somebody, let it slide? Because that's America, to Dinesh.
All of these things that once said, we would look at other countries and go, look, those are the bad guys because these are the things that they do.
Okay, turning in a relative who's committed a crime is not new to the fucking United States because of some weird progressive woke takeover. For fuck's sake, I thought progressives were trying to get everybody out of jail. How do you create gulags and abolish prisons at the same time? How do you have a police state while defunding the police? Get your fucking message straight. This is goofy.
All of those things have now suddenly crept almost imperceptibly into American life.
It's almost like they're only in your fucking head. It's weird. You can walk around, you don't even notice it because it isn't happening, but it is happening. It's just not happening anywhere near you or to anyone you actually know. It's just only through weird internet channels like this.
And so the film raises a very profound question. Is America becoming a police state?
No. Spoiler alert.
If I think back a couple of decades, we were asking questions like, wow, if we do trade with China, will they become more like us? It never occurred to us to say, would we become more like them?
Dun, 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 dun. Hold on one second. Dun, dun, dun. Will they become more like us? Who can say? Will we become more like them? No, we haven't become more like them. They literally became more like, they got Starbucks and we got cheap electronics and shitty toys for a while. Oy. This is just embarrassing.
That's the question raised by this film, Police State. It's in theaters next month, October 23rd and 25th.
Why would you see that? By the way, if we're in a police state, how the fuck would you get a movie like that in theaters? Come see, the government is shutting down my movie because you're not even allowed to show movies anymore. Premiering Friday. The first 90 people get free popcorn. Is the government trying to stop you from eating popcorn? Answer our poll and get a free popcorn at the screening. Jesus Christ.
Available later for streaming and stuff.
Well, and stuff. Yeah. I mean, unless it's obviously censored. Excellent. Unless they censor it, of course, which they're going to definitely do. Definitely going to do. I mean, obviously, until, of course, the draconian Agenda 21 UN shock troops show up and maybe take it down off of Amazon Prime or my own website or that I'm, obviously hosting on a server in Russia. But don't let that affect your view of the film.
But we've bought out hundreds of theaters.
So you're not counting on ticket sales, I guess.
Our website is just policestatefilm.net.
Mm-hmm. Someone already took policestatefilm.com. It's a Gerard Butler film. I'm guessing it was taken by a Gerard Butler film, right?
Film, so that's the place to get the
Release date.
tickets.
Yeah, get the tickets there. They're basically free. We already bought out the theater. We're doing the same thing Sound of Freedom did, which is buy out all the seats and pretend they were bought by people. So even if it's empty, it's the #1 box office movie.
Dinesh D'Souza, great filmmaker. Sir, thank you so much.
Great filmmaker, so great. Especially the part where you put scenes together that will drive some lone wolf to shoot an FBI agent in the fucking face. Just for the random of it. Yeah, because obviously Trump.
Taking the time, we appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Oh, my pleasure to drive lone wolves to attempt to murder police officers. It's more than a job. It's a calling, really. So, all right, I'm gonna let you guys go early because I have to go do stand up if that's okay. And if I get into another bit, I will be late. So, love you guys. Hi. I'll be back in the regular studio tomorrow for the 4 o'clock show in the afternoon. Wish me luck. Okay. And yes, and and regular shows the rest of the week and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I think everything's pretty much normal. Might be seeing Tesla Friday night if I can get tickets. We'll try to work that out. That'd be fun. I have friends who are in town who know them, so it just might be a cool thing. Try to do that, as it were. But if not, I can just get my own. Anyways, much love. Got to do a show. Hopefully it will stream. If it doesn't, I'll let you guys know. But if it does, Patreon, guys, you can go look. I'll make a note there once I get to the club if they're able to do it with the unlisted link to watch the show. And I appreciate you all. Thank you so much. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. It's weird that Tim Pool has 1 million subscribers and we're humping by with 56K. And yet the impact that we're having is a lot bigger. I find that interesting. Maybe it's the level or the quality or the intensity of the programming here at Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide with you guys, and the fact that, I actually have something to say that's well-meaning and meaningful. So, we'll see. It could be, or either that, or I'm just a big jerk. I don't know.